You have greatness within you. You are powerful. You are limitless. You are strong. You are courageous. You are love. Welcome to the Reconnect to Your Greatness podcast. Enjoy. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Reconnect to Your Greatness. Today I have with me Allan Misner. Allan is a C-suite level executive to a gym owner, an entrepreneur, and a community activist. So very excited to have Allan onto the show today. Allan, how are you?
I'm doing great, Ryan. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much. Hey, your story is very unique, and I'm real excited to dive into it and share it with our listeners. Tell us this show is about reconnect to your greatness and kind of reinventing yourself and getting connected to your strength inside. Share with the listeners, let's dive right in. A little bit about that C-suite executive to gym owner and entrepreneur, and I know you did a big move.
Yeah, I had worked my way up through corporate. I was internal auditor. So boo, everybody hates the auditor. I was that guy. And I was actually really good at my job, which made it even worse. I always won most hated person in the company every year in and year out, except one year when we were going through a compliance and the chief compliance officer was, he beat me out that year. But so I worked in this tough environment in a rough and tumble industry. And every year as we were going down in sales and stuff was going on in our industry, we had layoffs. And so I had to lay off like 30% of my staff one year, 20% the next year, and 60% the next year, and then the rest, 100% that last year. And of course, with the 100%, I was on that list. And I told my wife, I was like, this is not bringing us joy. This job is not serving us. And if I were to go back and work for another company, it would be the same. And that's just not my path. That's not who I want to be. I had started doing a little bit of online personal training because I'd made some changes myself. And people, I had started a podcast, 40 Plus Fitness. And so I said, this is my future. And it had already been planned that I was going to retire. But this was a little early. I wasn't quite ready for that. But that said, I just knew that my gift was helping people recover their health and fitness when they're over 40. And I needed to make that work. I needed to do that, not go into another job, bury myself. I probably would have had to close the podcast, stop training people because a new job, new industry, new whatever, it just wasn't going to work. So I said, let's make it happen. Now, we had a nice house in a nice location on a beach, and it was costing us a fortune. So I told my wife, I was like, why are we continuing to pay this much money for taxes and insurance? We could do better. And so we started looking for places to retire, and we checked out, I'd been here before, but we had checked out Bocas del Toro in Panama. It's a Caribbean island, cost effective, and no hurricanes. So it was a win all the way across. Brought her down. She loved it. We've gotten here. We've become a part of the community. It's tight knit because we're an island. Everybody knows practically everybody. And we all reach out and help each other. And so there have been some great opportunities here for us to connect with the local community. The gym was going under when I got here. It was for sale. So I bought the gym. And put money in it just to keep it open. COVID came along, I put money in to just keep it open so that it wasn't open, it was closed, but I put money in to keep it there so that when COVID was over, we could reopen the gym. So now there's a locals gym that's affordable to them. They can get their workouts in. I have access to all the equipment and things I love doing. And it just lets me be who I want to be. And then not long ago, my wife and I bought a bed and breakfast. And this was really kind of her passion project. She loves people and loves helping people. And now we have guests from all around the world that come in, and we help them have a wonderful time, go on great tours, have a nice, comfortable, clean room, shower, everything they need, bed and breakfast. And so that's kind of where we've been and why we're here. This has become home. I don't really ever want to leave this island. I do have to go see family, so I'll put up with it. But this is my home.
That's incredible, Alan. So lots to unpack there. Let's zoom back to, you said, I just know. I just know. And I think that there's a lot of individuals that are probably at that point, particularly over the past 2 years with COVID, right? Where we've had a time to take a step back and say, okay, what is it that I really want? So how did you know, and how can other people know the way you figured out how to know?
Well, one, when you wake up in the morning, are you bouncing around? Or is this something you really want to go do? I mean, if you were planning a trip to Disneyland or Disney World, whichever side of the country you're on, you're planning this trip. The question is, the day before the trip, you hardly can sleep. You get up in the morning, you're ready to get on that airplane, right? You're ready to go do that thing. If you don't get up in the morning to go to work and feel that way, there's a fundamental problem. Okay. Now you can grind it out and you can get to retirement and you can have that second career, because I think that's going to be the new normal. We're all going to have second careers. I have a second career, a couple of them, I guess, but you wake up in the morning, you say, okay, what's in tune for my day? Well, my in tune for my day was meeting another guest. They're from Texas, they're from Dallas. And so I get to meet new people every day that come into the bed and breakfast. I have a gym that's open, and I have people that are really happy that they have a home that they can go work out at. Every day we're open. And so it was just one of those things where if you don't wake up in the morning excited about what is in front of you, then you might not be doing what you're meant to do. Now, it might be a temporary thing. You got to, obviously got to put food on the table. But if there's a way, you should strongly be thinking about what's the next act, what's the next thing, and how do I transition and make that happen?
Wow. And you took a tremendous leap of faith. I mean, you sold your place, you're moving to this island that, I mean, you've been to before, but it's not like, another state in the United States, right? I mean, this is a big leap of faith. What's on your heart and on your soul that's empowering you to make this leap?
Well, while I had been here, I had only been here for a weekend. And so, my wife and I went to visit. It was in, I think, July or August. We came here, spent a few days, saw the sights, did the tourist thing really more than anything else. And then quite literally just sat there and decided in December to put our house on the market. In February, we bought one-way ticket here. We already had an attorney scheduled to meet with to get our residency all worked out, to get my work permit already worked out. I was already negotiating to buy the gym by February. And so this was, it was sort of a leap of faith, but if you really break it down, there are no real dead ends. If you have the decision, you can pivot. So we could have gotten down here and spent a while, and then like COVID hits and it's like, oh, this sucks. I'm going to try to get back to the States and never come back here again. But the reality of it was, so we never looked at it like anything else, but just another adventure in life. So it's just like you take a new job, for example, and you're excited, you move to a new place or you go to a new office, you meet new people and you do this thing. And then maybe over time it gets stale, but I would say if it gets stale, that's another indication that whatever you're doing is not your purpose. And so that was kind of the difference. Was my move here was not just a physical move, it was a move toward purpose. My purpose was to help people get healthy and fit. And I knew being here gave me a better opportunity to do that because the cost of living went down significantly. And as a result, it was easier for me to relax and do what I do. Personal trainers are not the highest paid profession in the world. I am not making the kind of money I was making before. So my pivot then was not a pivot towards financial success, if you will, is the way you would measure it. It was a pivot towards heart. It was a pivot toward feeling like I'm doing and making a difference in the world. I mean, I could do great things as an auditor. I could prevent fraud. I could catch fraud. I could do all these different things that were really good for the company. And in the end, good for shareholders and everybody else. But it got to a point where I didn't wake up excited about it. And when they gave me the out of the layoff, I ran with it.
A pivot towards the heart. Wow, man. That's powerful.
Everybody wants it. Everybody thinks about it. You've got passions in your life. And, that was one of the stark realities I came to over, I guess now 10 years ago, 9 years ago, was that I was living my life, but I wasn't living my passion. And as a result, days were going by that I wasn't enjoying. I had no joy. And, the checking account was going up. The 401k was going up. I could afford more expensive houses. And that was all nice. It felt good to do those things, but they were fleeting. It's like you have a nice house. It's cool to walk through the threshold the first time. And now you got to put a roof on it. And you got to pay the tax bill. And now you got to pay the insurance. And so you just realize that I had anchored myself down to things that really weren't important to me. There were milestones in my life that I'll look back on and say, yeah, I know why I was where I was. But I even got a tattoo around that time I made this epiphany of I have to have passion in my life. So I have a tattoo. It's the only tattoo I have. It says have to have passion.
Mm.
And every morning I get up, I brush my teeth, I'm looking in the mirror. I see that message. It isn't written reverse, but so I have to, kind of mentally see that picture. But it's that concept that each day is a gift, and you can choose to honor the gift, or you can choose to give it away.
Love it, man. Love it. So good. So good. So share with the listeners a little bit more about, you get down there, you've already got some things in motion, right? But hey, that's a lot to go on. Moving to another country, citizenship, gym, and some business investments. Share with the listeners and the viewers some actionable strategies on how, because that could be very overwhelming for people.
Yeah.
How do they, put that in a box that's a little more manageable?
Okay. The first is to come up with a why. Why do you even want to do this? If that's not emotional and compelling enough, it's probably not going to stick. Okay. And then the second step is to do it in a way that's that you don't feel like you're locked in. Okay. So yes, I bought the gym, but the investment was, for me at the time, was relatively small. I wanted the gym to stay open, so the investment was small. And then kind of the next step of all that was, if we got here and it didn't pan out, I had outs. I still had a skill set. I could still do other things if I needed to. So don't go into it like I have to do this and stick with it. Like I'm going to be embarrassed if I did something and then failed. You really can't go in with that, well, what if I fail mindset? It's just, if I go in and I don't like it or don't want it, it does not working out, I'll go somewhere else. There's a tomorrow here. So when we first moved down here, yeah, I did buy the gym, but we didn't just buy a place. We rented this place, we rented that place, we rented again another place, and just tried to find what we liked here and find the things, because wherever you are, you're going to make it a home. And, you just make it what it needs to be. So we knew, okay, we don't need to live outside the city or the town. So we do live in a town. There's an airport basically 4 blocks from here. So, we can get on an airplane and go somewhere if we want to. We tried living out in the jungle, and that was okay. It was cool to have howler monkeys in the trees in the morning when you woke up. Maybe they were the reason you woke up, but, we tried that. It's like, okay, this is nice out here. We like it out here, but this is not home. We want to find a place that's more like home. And that was one of the cool things about buying Lula's Bed and Breakfast, is we made a home here. We've got our own apartment inside the bed and breakfast, taking 2 of the rooms that would have been rented out, and just said, no, this is where we're going to live. And so we do have, I mean, right now it's not great. It's not wonderful. It's not, that's, posh little place. It's just a nice, cool little apartment right off the main living room and living area, just dining area for the guests. And it's easy. It's a lot of work sometimes running a bed and breakfast, but that's part of the reward, is we're doing the right things. And so the passion comes in that I'm doing the thing I want to do most, which is the coaching. And so if you have a good why and you start moving in that direction and you make a misstep and you find yourself in a place that's not conducive to who you need to be, you pivot. It's that simple. You know, we act like we're stuck, and I can say no one's ever stuck unless you tell yourself you are.
Yeah.
If you tell yourself that you can always pivot out of this, people go bankrupt, shut their businesses down, and start another one.
Right.
So there's always another opportunity. There's always another act. And every time you don't try, then you don't know.
Right.
And so the moving to a Caribbean island, everybody says, wow, it's so fascinating that you did that. That's so brave. And no, there was no bravery involved. It was just get on an airplane, come here. And if things weren't working out, we weren't liking it. My wife said, if my wife had told me, no, this just really isn't our thing, this isn't my thing, then, you know, fine. I buy an airline ticket and we go back.
Wow.
We figure it out. So it's really about just having an open mind that your life is an experience and you're the only limiting factor.
Yeah, that's so powerful. What I really hear you saying, Allan, is it's like, hey, take the leap of faith, but don't feel like just because you take the leap of faith, you can't fly off to the right or fly off to the left or circle back around, right? It's that leap of faith is not final.
Right. And you know, but the other core of it, I didn't burn any bridges. I didn't sit there and, you know, say, I'm not, you know, I don't want to work for you anymore. I don't want to do anything. I didn't burn any bridges coming out. I did the laid off. We completed the task. I got, you know, everything done. And then after that was over, put the house for sale, put some other properties I had for sale, and get on an airplane. And no one's hurt by it. It's my decision, my choice. We're in the same basic time zone we were before. So I can still communicate with family. Our kids can fly down here. We fly up there to see our families. So, you know, there's no burned bridges. This is just a new lifestyle, which I kind of like. And, and, you know, I actually, every morning I wake up excited to go open the front door for this bed and breakfast. I'm excited to know that my gym is open and that there are people working out in there right now as we speak that would not have had that gym, would not have had that opportunity if I didn't come in and do what we did.
Right, right. Incredible. Yeah. So in our last couple of minutes here, maybe you can share a little bit with the listeners and the viewers about, you know, how you work with individuals, what some of those core principles are of your online coaching. You know, I know you do online fitness and personal training. Share with the listeners more about that.
Sure. Well, most of this is documented in my book, The Wellness Roadmap. So it kind of tells you exactly the structure of how I look at health and fitness, how I turn myself around, the bad decisions I made to start my life along the way that I didn't need to go. And then the long journey it took for me to turn and figure this all out, because it was not a, okay, this is the right thing and snap, it was done. There was work and there was a lot of time that I wasted. So I'm hopeful that the book, The Wellness Roadmap, can kind of give you a lot of those basics. And at the beginning of the book, there's a section called the Wellness GPS. So that's the first section of the book. And this is about knowing where you want to go, why you want to go there, and then setting up the plan to make that happen. So when you get through with this process called the Wellness GPS, you know exactly what you need to do, and you do it. It's a foundational commitment, personalization, and self-awareness. And as you start building that stuff, which is all the mindset stuff that you need, and I call it the Wellness GPS. It's just a GPS for change. So it'll work for any change you want to do. If you want it bad enough, if you know where you want to go, you break it into bite-sized pieces, and then you know the saboteurs and the things that are going to trip you up, you can write your plan, you can set your GPS, and you get where you need to go. That was the start of it, and that's how I structure most of my training. I do it online. Some of them are group Zoom calls, some of them are individual Zoom calls. I have a structure to a program that I run called Be Fit for Task, because, you know, fitness, a lot of people think fitness is, okay, I got to look like a Greek god or goddess, you know, and I got to be able to do all that CrossFit stuff that I see people doing, you know, all those crazy box jumps and stuff. And, you know, you're over 40, probably not going to need to be doing a whole lot of box jumps. But that all said, fit for task is being fit to do what you're meant to do. So that could be being the best grandfather you can be. And one thing I like to say is when I'm 105, I want to be able to wipe my own butt. Okay. It's kind of funny, but when you break it down, that implies a couple different things. One, that I'm healthy enough to live to 105. And then two, that I'm fit enough to be able to do the basic things that I would need to do. I mean, sitting on the toilet, wipe my butt, get back up, and go on with my life. That means I'm not dependent on other people. I'm independent, living my life. And that's the way I want to approach life. So fit for task means you're building a fitness level, a health level that puts you where you need to be the person that's going to allow you to live that passion we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
And so that's what I work with clients to do, is to put together their action plans, get them started on that program. And then if they want to stay with me longer, I do have other coaching options that I work with for different people, because there's not one thing that works for everybody. Everybody's bio-unique. Their lifestyles are different. Their schedules are different. Their eating habits are different. Their ability to train is different. So I try to put together holistic programming that works across all of those modalities and gives them a tool chest that then going forward, they know the strategies and tactics that work for them. Because I could tell them the strategies and tactics that I used, but that doesn't necessarily correlate to what they need to do in their lives. So it's a very customized way of looking at health and fitness and saying, I'm not going to put you in a cookie cutter program. We're going to do something specific for you that you're comfortable with, that it can become a sustainable lifestyle. Because in the end, if you're going to maintain health and fitness, it's going to come from your lifestyle.
Yeah, I love the kind of the customization and personalization piece that you mentioned, because everybody is different. And, this idea of fit to task is perfect because, like you said, some people may want to be CrossFit. Some people may want to be mountain bike. Some people could be a 70-year-old woman, to your point about independence, that just wants to be healthy for their independence. And I think that, sometimes we get this idea of like, oh, well, I got to be like this person on social media, or I've got to be like this family friend, or whatever the case may be. And the truth of the matter is, we're all unique and we're all different with what our goals and our passions are.
Yeah. And you've got that. You nailed that one, because your goals are different than mine. And the lady, like you said, her goals are different and her capacity is different. So, I might want to be doing a Tough Mudder, which I'm planning up here in August. And so I'm currently training for that Tough Mudder, and I'll go do it. I'll have fun doing it and enjoy it, because I find that stuff fun. 10 years ago, not even close to being capable of doing anything remotely like that. So, you can change and you can be fit for task. For me, fit for task is being able to do a Tough Mudder. For someone else, it can be being able to pick up their grandchild without throwing their back out.
Yeah.
For someone else, like you said, it could be, I had a client, he wanted to be able to ride this 140-mile bike ride and keep up with his buddies who were all better cyclists than him. So we trained his stamina, we cut some weight, we got him stronger. And as a result, he kept up with his buddies and had a great trip. And, so it was all build up for that one thing. And then we get off the phone from that one thing. It's like, what's next,
What's next?
And get up in the morning excited about what's next. That's really what this life is all about, because you're given one chance. And, if you are going to waste it spending your time unhealthy and just trashed, that's not a way to go.
Yeah. Well, as we start to bring the plane in for a landing here, Allan, I think that you really shared some actionable strategies and some inspiration. So I really appreciate that. Share with the listeners the Wellness Roadmap. Where can they pick up a copy of your book, and how do they get in touch with you?
Okay. Yeah, the book's on Amazon. It's called The Wellness Roadmap, and pretty easy to find on Amazon. It's been there. I wrote the book in 2018. But it's not dated. It's written. It's basically just mindset. So your brain didn't change that much since then. So it's still valid. And I use it with all my clients every week. If you go to 40plusfitness.com, that's my page. It's not anything fancy. I'm really only running one program that I offer through that page that you can get on my call list and we can have a conversation. I have a very limited bandwidth for clients. I don't want a lot of clients. I don't need a lot of clients. You know, I'm live on an island where my cost of living is relatively covered and nil. So I'm not trying to get rich with all this. I'm trying to help people. I do the podcast. It's called 40 Plus Fitness. You can find it everywhere that you listen to podcasts. It's out there. Or you can come to my website, 40plusfitnesspodcast.com, and you can find some other things there that I'm doing, some freebies and other things that are out there.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Allan, I really appreciate your time. I think your story is incredible. I wish we had more time to unpack some of your own personal transformation, but I think what you shared was absolutely incredible, and definitely the listeners and the viewers will be able to take some of that away. And I guess to wrap up, is there any last message that you would like to send out to the viewers and the listeners? Any, kind of message of inspiration?
Well, anything you set your mind to is within reach. I start thinking about people, that are inspirational, and you can sit there and look at someone like Elon Musk, who starts PayPal, and in and of itself, an amazing accomplishment. And for a lot of people, that's it. He would sell PayPal and then you'd never hear from him again. No, the guy goes out and creates 3 or 4 different companies that are complete game changers in industries, creating industries that almost didn't exist before.
Yeah.
And doing it better than anybody else ever has. And so you start thinking about change, and you start thinking about risk, and you start thinking about all these things that are important to you. Take the risk. It's worth the juice.
I like it. Take the risk and know that the leap of faith is not final, and you can always pivot, right?
Yeah. You land and don't like where you are, you jump again.
Right. Awesome. Allan, thank you so very much for your time today. I really appreciate it. And I'm sure the listeners and viewers will be able to take away some golden nuggets from what you shared.
All right. Have a happy and healthy day.
Thanks, Allan.
Hello to all of you out there. My name is Ryan Joseph Kopyar, and I want to invite you to come on this journey with me to learn more about healing and the holistic power of the mind-body connection. I think at the end of the day, we all want to live a happier, more joyful and fulfilled life. And my hope is that together on this journey, we can explore the mind-body connection and what it means to truly experience inner healing. So I want to thank you for joining me, and hopefully this will be an exciting journey that we can all take together.